This morning, we are learning that investigators have recovered the black box in the Toronto plane crash. Yesterday, officials inspected the plane and cranes were brought in to handle the plane's removal. Aviation experts say investigators will consider conditions on the ground, the pilot's actions before landing, and potential problems with the landing gear. The crash was the fourth major aviation accident in North America in recent weeks.
And Corey, Delta Airlines is offering passengers on board that Toronto flight $30,000. Delta claims there are no strings attached and that the offer will not affect passengers' rights, likely referring to potential lawsuits. 76 passengers and 4 crew members were on that plane coming from Minneapolis when it crashed Monday afternoon. 21 people suffered minor injuries. 1 is still hospitalized.
New this morning, the facts of airline safety after a series of aviation disasters this past month. We're looking into the data.
9 News reporter Courtney Yoon joins us live from Denver International Airport this morning. Courtney, this topic is top of mind right now. We've got spring break coming, and then we have another incident yesterday in Arizona.
Yes, that's right. Good morning, Lauren and Corey. A few things about that recent incident. First, 2 people died after 2 small planes collided midair in around northwest Tucson. And while it may seem like there's been a string of disasters in our skies, I spoke with an aviation expert who says statistically, air travel is still one of the safest modes of transportation. Now, over the last month, we've talked about 4 major aviation mishaps. On Monday, a flight heading from Minneapolis to Toronto ended upside down on a runway. 80 people survived. Last month, a commercial plane and an Army helicopter collided near D.C., where 67 people died. There was another crash in Philadelphia, killing 6 people, and 1 in Alaska that killed 10. But when I talked to Chad Kendall, he told me the data does not indicate a rise in serious accidents. Kendall is an MSU Denver aviation professor and FAA chief instructor. Statistics from the National Transportation Safety Board show there may have been a record low number of airplane accidents nationwide just last month. There were 63 fatal or non-fatal crashes in January this year, compared to 80 last year and 89 in 2023. That's the lowest number of crashes in a single month since 1982, according to data available right now on the NTSB website. And overall, their data shows a trend of crashes declining, especially over the last decade. Kendall says investigations could take a year or longer to find out what happened in these most recent incidents.
If they have findings on things that airlines need to change very quickly, even before a final report is not put out, then they're going to share that with the airlines and other stakeholders to make changes right now to ensure that things like this do not happen again.
And Kendall says it's always important to remember your responsibilities as a passenger on an airplane. He says make sure you always know where the nearest emergency exits are, dress for the weather that you're flying in, and always listen and pay attention to the instructions from the cabin crew. Live at DIA, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
Great advice, Courtney, and really interesting when you break down the numbers. The barrage of flight incidents over the past month make you afraid of flying, possibly? Well, after Courtney's report, maybe shouldn't, but coming up at 8:40, our mental health expert, Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, joins us in studio to discuss flight anxiety.
It's 7:07 right now, and this morning we're expecting to see the start of mass IRS layoffs. Starting today, around 7,000 workers at the Internal Revenue Service will be laid off in D.C. and across the country. The terminations will target relatively recent hires at the IRS as part of the sweeping effort to shrink the federal workforce.
The CDC is joining the Agriculture Department's attempts to revoke terminations. According to a source, more than 700 CDC employees have been fired since Friday. The agency didn't specify which jobs they're trying to protect. The USDA said letters were sent to their employees working on the bird flu. Several job categories, including animal health technicians, veterinarians, and other emergency personnel, were exempt.
The Department of Health and Human Services has issued a new guidance on the definition of sex. It's one of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first moves as HHS secretary. The new definitions include that a male is someone who has a reproductive system with the biological function of producing sperm. Critics say it ignores the concept of gender, which includes the behaviors, activities, and attributes of people. They say it also alienates intersex people who are born with anatomy that doesn't fit the definition of male or female. That's problematic because HHS guidance influences how physicians treat patients. According to statsforgender.org, 0.018% of the U.S. population is estimated to have been born intersex.